Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Unpopular View.
Thank you all for clicking on our faces.
Blue flag with all that.
Okay, so I wrote down some notes.
Not to do that.
I don't want to sit too hard.
That's twice. That'll probably go over about as well as Colonel Bobby.
Because there was no Jay White sighting.
Just straight up gangbanging.
This story has been fit. You gotta pay attention.
So Unpopular Review does not. What is she the CEO of, Chris? Jesus, golly.
Let's start the show.
Hello?
Is that Frank?
Yes.
Hi, Frank. This is Jimmy Hoffa. I heard you paint houses.
No, please. No, Frank.
Yes, I do, sir.
Where are you going?
Going to work.
Well, you know, there's a situation going on now, Frank. Big business and the government, they're trying to pull us down. You want to be a part of this fight? Would you like to be a part of this history?
Yes, I would. Whatever you need me to do, I'm available.
We are here, Al Pacino month, long ass movies month, gangster ass movies month, and this is the end of. We say months, but it's only 3 weeks. But this is the end of it with my pick, The Irishman, right? So you know it's going to be good. Let's start. All right, so this movie called The Irishman, starring Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Joe Pesci. You got some old school powerhouses in this movie with new school faces, right? Great, right? So this movie stars about a once hitman who's in a retirement home, so to speak, going through health issues, and he's recounting the fact of his life growing up in the mob, you know, how he got in there, how he was friends with a lot of the bosses, how he was friends with Jimmy Hoffa, how he had to off a few people, including Hoffa. He's just recanting the tales in this very long movie. But it's so long, I can't do this by myself. I got to be in the crew. So let's go ahead and bring him in.
Tonight's broadcast has been commandeered by the secret society No Ma'am, National Organization of Men Against Amazonian Masterhood.
What's going on, gentlemen?
I'm here to talk about this long-ass movie.
This movie was long as hell. When the proposal of gangster movies came up, and I think it was from Mike, you know, we all picked up, I said, you know what, I want to do something more recent, right? I want to do something I haven't seen before. So I just picked one. I picked Irishman. And then I got a phone call saying, why the hell did you pick this long-ass movie? I said, I don't know what you're talking about, right? I phone tag. I don't know what you're talking about. He said, this movie long as shit. I'm like, come on. I'm like, oh, shit, this movie's long as shit. And let me remind you, I'm on Tuesday's episode 2, and we picked 3 long-ass movies. And we're not talking about the Injustice League movies, right? Which is a DC Animated Universe movie. Here's a fun fact. Those are 3 of the longest ones ever for DC Animated Universe.
Wow.
Believe it or not. But they were only an hour and a half compared to the 3 hours and 35 minutes of The Irishman. I had to break this movie down into 3 days while I watched it work.
Jesus.
Let's talk about some of our good parts and bad parts. And we'll start off down there with the man, Vic. Vic, I am timing you.
Okay, so one of the most compelling parts of this movie, which is also one of the funniest parts of this movie, is the scene where Robert De Niro is beating up the guy from the store, right? And because
maybe to play it.
The thing is,
I forgot about it.
The thing is just that, like, all right, that scene right there, it was just hilarious because, you know, clearly they recently made this movie and Robert De Niro is up in age. So then, you know, they try to make it look like he was really doing something. And that scene was just so wrestling. Like, it just felt like, like elbows to the chest type of thing. Like it just felt like you could see from far away that the hits weren't real, and the guy was just like selling the thing, So I thought that was cute, but the compelling part of that scene was how his relationship with his daughter was literally ruined right then and there. Because one of the reasons why she was so distant from him and all of his like friends was because she got to see firsthand what he's really capable of. Right. So now he hid his life from his kids, but at the same time, he did what he had to do to put food on the table. And that's how he was looking at it. But throughout this movie, you could tell that his daughter was scared of Joe Pesci. His daughter was scared of him. His daughter did everything in her power to get away. And then by the time it got towards the end of the movie, he's sitting there showing pictures of his daughter to anybody that'll listen. And that was really sad, when you see like this, I was hyped to see the young Dominican girl in the show. But then when I saw what was going on, like, I felt sad for him because he started to remind me of my students. Because I teach to people at senior centers. And the truth is, like, a lot of times they'll do the same thing, pull out some pictures and just start talking about their past to anybody that'll listen. And this guy, and these guys, they were just looking back at their life and still doing things. But it's just sad how lonely they became at the end because, you're just dangerous. You know what I mean? And that's everything I'm gonna say. You see what I mean? That was fast, right?
That was for you. That was very, very fast. Mike Knotts, let's see how fast you got.
Well, it's first. Martin Scorsese does this.
Facts.
Done in 2019. Confused by having box office. I don't remember. It was a straight to Netflix movie.
It was
somehow
sponsored by Netflix, but it did end up in some theater.
It made $8 million in a movie theater.
That's not bad for some theater.
Well, to me, this kept up with the Netflix, my opinion of Netflix films and being a bad film. The special effects that was put in front of this, which you're making fun of that scene because they are older in age, just made them look bad. I can get with the going back. I'm a wrestling fan. Vic already said it once about every show he does wrestling terms. I get to follow suit, right? And we see that they're older now, so we know how to suspend our disbelief in them going back into time and showing that kind of time. But the movie was very interesting, as long as it was of the spoof, loosely based history they were telling of this story. True fact here, a statement you made earlier as a consultant. Robert De Niro, if you look at any of his movies, he's never in the mob. He's a friend to the mob because he's not a true Italian. They won't let you, unless you're a full-blooded Italian, you cannot be part of the mob. You can be a part of it, hence why in Goodfellas also, they were friends. They were so happy that Joe Pesci was being made because one of theirs was finally a true made man. But being friends with them, it's just as good, right? I mean, he respected them well enough. I remember he did the job in Delaware, and he said, yeah, that's Jewish mafia. You know what I mean? And he said, you got a good friend here. And that was Al Pesci's character, was the real good friend. But just them going to the taxi stand and dumping all the taxis in the river, in the Chicago River. And this movie was, I thought, had a lot to say, and it was very good, and it stayed true to the Scorsese way of films and what they were trying to display in this movie. And that's that true, if you watched our last two films, we go back to the Godfather-esque kind of thing. They kept up with the times of who they were. They kept it in within the family. And true statements, I say it every time she's in a movie, Sookie Stackhouse, who will never be able to play Rogue again because she played Sookie Stackhouse in True Love and True Blood. So I don't think we've seen her in Deadpool. He brought everybody else back. Why not bring back Rogue? Because she's butt-ass naked on TV.
She's been Rogue since then.
Yeah, I know they had that one little part, but not in the MCU, not in the big times. They brought it back to Fox, yes. But Sookie Stackhouse being his daughter, she was okay, which I thought was kind of weird. I've always thought that the dynamic between her And Joe Pesci kind of felt, as that word we use here in today's world, a little cringe. Like, why are you so intrigued about this little girl being friends with you? You know, she does end up being friends with Hoffa's son, who grows up, who's also being played by my man Landry Clark from Friday Night Lights, who's now one of the best actors in Hollywood. Go watch Civil War. Go watch Detroit. He's a really good up-and-coming actor, young actor that is out there that plays his older son in this film. But overall, I mean, let's see at the end, the conclusion, was it good enough? Good stories, but they delivered well. The special effects that affect this film. And we'll talk about that later.
The special effects
who comes 15 minutes late to a movie, to a meeting, and wearing shorts?
And I want to highlight that because that was actually
best
one
part
of
the movie.
My favorite scene. And I'm glad you said one of all 3 hours and some odd minutes. I did like his interaction he had at the jail with him too.
Yeah.
Like, what? It's your problem. No, I got my pension. I thought it was, I said it in the last week. He steals so many scenes. And just the fact that when he sat down, you already knew he was irritated, but you thought he was going to at least try to play ball. And he said, you're 15 minutes and you're wearing shorts. I don't know. Who shows up 15 minutes late for me? He's like, he doubled down. He's like, yeah, I want you to apologize for thing. What thing? What did I say? Like, you people. Like, So it was very entertaining. I want to highlight Robert De Niro's acting in this movie simply because of the fact I did feel for him in every single decade that he played. Right, whether it's because he was older, whether it's because he really cared about his daughter, whether it's because he really had a good friendship with Joe Pesci and Jimmy Hoffa. I hate to say Joe Pesci and then use the character's name, but he did. Right, like I didn't know the history of this movie. I didn't know anything, the background on it, so I was surprised that he actually ended up pulling the trigger. Right, I thought if I didn't know better, if I didn't know better, because everybody knows, hey, what did they do with Jimmy Hoffa's body? I would have thought that he would have saved him if I didn't know better. But I definitely did not think he would have pulled the trigger. Right, and Joe Pesci was like, "Hey, you know what? We did everything that we could for the man." And that's
they did.
They did. He was very stubborn. He
refused to play ball. He refused to play ball.
But speaking about Jimmy Hoffa, I got to say this. I think we're too young for this movie. Because
I was waiting for you to really weigh in on the
I definitely think
the New York scene. I was waiting
for this movie.
Because
this guy, people are still talking about him. You know what I mean? Like,
facts.
And the thing is, I personally think, and I'll just say this, I think that his disappearance is one of the main reasons why a lot of people are individualistic and no longer care about collective bargaining. Even unless you're in a union and give a shit about that. You know what I mean? But this guy's disappearance was a very, very big deal.
It is a big deal. Listen,
Al Pacino credited him. Like he played him like a big deal.
I'm a former Teamster. It's everything, and I encourage people who are watching this show. You have no power against these companies. Your union, you're paying them to protect you. It's like paying for a lawyer in your back pocket. If your company has a union, especially if you're blessed enough to be a Teamster, why would I not want to? And know nothing else, black folks, if you know nothing else, right? You say, I'm Democrat because I'm black. Listen, Tupac told you, okay, in Poetic Justice, but I'm in the union. That's all you need to know. He's protected. What we got coming out later this week?
Ladies and gentlemen, say with us, you're watching Unpopular Review.
No one in my family has ever gone out with a non-Greek before. Oh!
A respectful boy would come here and ask for my permission.
May I please date your daughter?
No!
Playtone and Gold Circle Films cordially invite you.
It's a mosquito bite. It's a zit.
To the wedding of the year.
She's a rabbit!
And the romantic comedy of the season. My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
We may be lambs in the kitchen, but we are tigers in the bedroom.
Ew, please let that be the end of your speech.
Yo, normally I don't do this, but this is fucking ridiculous. Anybody watch this movie and see this scene? It's ridiculous. This is Robert De Niro going to defend his daughter's honor because this dude shoved her.
This is hilarious.
Oh my god!
Look at it!
It was just so bad.
He didn't even hit him. Scene I've ever seen in my life.
He didn't hit him. The glass shattered before he even touched the damn
before the door. Yeah,
production,
boy. Production.
And he's walking around, and Robert De Niro, bless his heart, you can tell he's 80, right? As he's walking into this guy.
Hey, he just had a baby.
Okay, yeah, well, hey, his Poindexter still works, but this guy who's not a spring chicken but still 50 looks like he could take Robert De Niro. As Robert slowly is walking over to him, he's just like, no, and then Robert doesn't even know where to kick him properly. I don't want to make fun of him because he's such an icon, right? And I do appreciate the work that he did to try to move younger, to try to look younger, especially with the aging process, which I think they did a good job with the de-aging and aging. I think they did a good job.
You know what? Speaking to that, it's like the opposite of Goodfellas because he was younger and then they made him look older in Goodfellas, and mind you, and he's the same Irishman from Goodfellas and he is here. And I think that this movie would have been a part 2 of a movie if Paulie ever would have been
lived. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Agree with that.
That's what it felt like just an extended Goodfellas.
Yeah. I give you that. Great analogy, Vic. And Jr.
I mean, that's what I said. Like, this is for an older crowd, bro. This is for people 50 plus.
It was made for them. It was definitely made for the older people who still value the John F. Kennedys of the world. And you know what? As history being my minor in college, hating math so much, even always in school, I hated English, but I love history, and watching this film did that. Executive consultant, we're gonna start with me, I guess.
Go ahead and start on and find out what we got.
Yeah, honestly, I give it a thumbs up for me. Again, everything, the acting in it, I didn't want to see it. I'm the phone call to you that said why you picked this movie. When the movie came out, I tried to watch it when it first debuted on Netflix. Again, the history of Netflix movies compared versus their TV shows, they're night and day. Their TV shows mostly all hit 75, 80% of TV shows, even the ones I don't want to watch. I sit down and watch, my wife turns them on and I go, damn, that was actually pretty good. Their movies, they're pretty damn bad, the majority of them. Okay? This was not one of them. Long as hell. And if you can sit through, and trust me, I had to watch it in 2 settings. And I don't do that when it comes to movies. I had to. I dozed off. I had to wake back up, rewind it when I remembered last that I saw, and I had to pick it back up. And I thought the jail scene, you people, it's good to be a black guy and have another white guy say other you people to other white people. I always thought that was funny. Go watch Gangs in New York. That whole Irish thing is always funny as well. You know what I mean? Like y'all get so much, but still argue over so much little from what my people get. It's always hilarious to me. But overall, this movie, historically acted, CGI aside, which was pretty bad at times, it was a good movie. Thumbs up for me.
Vic, I heard you paint houses.
I heard you paint houses. I thought that was interesting, right? Like, the whole thing about, and mind you, they put it in between the movie and at the end of the movie, that whole thing about I heard you paint houses. That was pretty smart, And it's amazing when you think about old technology and you think about the times they were in, how calculating they were as far as doing things. Because they got away with a lot of stuff. I mean, you really got to pay attention in order to see all of the stuff that they got away with. But one of the reasons why I give this a thumbs up is because I started Googling Jimmy Hoffa and learning more about Jimmy Hoffa. Because Jimmy Hoffa is a name that I heard of in passing with the Teamsters and all of that. Right. But, a little bit about, but, because, and that's why I also say, like, this is for an older crowd, because now I understand way better the whole situation of the Teamsters and Jimmy Hoffa and how important he was. So yeah, definitely a thumbs up, and shout out to Netflix because, they are definitely rolling the dice because this movie wasn't for everybody. So they're definitely rolling the dice on content. and throwing things out there to see what sticks. And I think that this is definitely for the people that wanted to see a Goodfellas 2 or something like that. Thumbs up.
You know what? I it's one of my favorite comedians of all time is I'm not sure how well known he is now, but his name is George Carlin. Hilarious. And I remember
underrated.
Very underrated and very intelligent. And one of his comedy specials, I remember him talking about how he said, "Oh, you really want to see a man that you be afraid of? You go see Mother effing Joe Pesci, right?" And I never understood it.
Oh, I was going to continue going. It says, "I believe in two things only. I don't believe because I don't believe in God. He's he's a Scientologist guy. He's like, he says, I believe in two things: the sun and Joe Pesci."
That was the show You're All Deceived.
I'm glad you knew it because I didn't know it. I'm actually going to watch.
I had George Carlin CDs.
He is hilarious, right? Yeah. I remember one time he was talking about God. I don't mean to be religious. He was talking about if he don't do what he says, he's going to send you to a gross pit where you're going to burn and die for the rest of your life. But he loves you. It was hilarious. But anyway, that aside, I see why he said that because Joe Pesci is all 4'2" of him. Is a scary man when he's in his mafia ways, right? He was even when he was talking to, I was like, damn, he looks dangerous. I'm afraid to look at him on the screen in the wrong way, right?
You know what's crazy though? Even though that he's mad old and shriveled up in this movie, he still looks scary.
Exactly. So I see what he's saying. So rest in peace to you, George Carlin. You made me a believer. But was that enough for me to like this movie? Enough for a thumbs up? We're about to find out. Here we go. This movie gets a thumbs down for me. It was too freaking long, man. 3 sittings, and that scene just drove me crazy. Now, I will say this. I will admit this. It teetered on the thumbs up, but it wasn't enough to get a thumbs up. Thumbs down for me. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching us here on Thursday. Join us next week for Aliens movie on Tuesday, as well as My Big Fat Greek Wedding on Thursday.
3 black guys reviewing that. This is going to be hilarious.
Crazy rom-coms. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for watching us. We'll see you right here next time on Unpopular Review. Good night, everybody.
Fingers.